Hello boys and girls, my name is White Rhino PSO, and today we are playing Gold Rush the game. Now, I've never seen the show on the Discovery Channel that this is based on, but I love simulator games, and already Gold Rush has become one of my favorites. It's got an interesting idea, and a good mix of what I consider to be fun mechanics, but also the sort of mindless simulator gameplay that lets you focus on other things, like listening to a podcast. Now, what this game actually tries to simulate is the sort of work that a prospector would have to do while looking for gold up in Alaska. And for the most part, this means buying, setting up, running, and even repairing all different kinds of equipment. But there is also a lot of digging, which is where the mindless part comes in. So let's start a brand new game. We're going to be playing on normal difficulty because it has all of the different simulator mechanics enabled by default, but it's not so difficult that making a few small mistakes can end up becoming a huge setback. One thing that I would like to mention though is that easy difficulty has something called $1 mode enabled, and this means that anything in the game can be bought for just $1. And that is extremely useful if you want to make sure that you can handle some of the more expensive equipment before you end up buying it in any of your other saved games. Now, the game does have a tutorial, but we are not going to be doing it because it kind of throws you into the middle of things, and I always prefer, personally, to start off a simulator game as close to zero as possible. And there are also two ways that the game shows you how to play it while you're playing. And actually, it's going to show us those as soon as we make it past this loading screen. Here we go. Looking for help? There are two ways to get info about our in-game systems. The first is the journal you can access by pressing the tab key. The second one is the dig tube, our library of movies about the game. Every in-game mechanic is explained there. If you find anything that is not explained, please send us a message on any available social media. And it shows immediately, it brings us into DigTube. So if you've ever gone to YouTube and searched for videos on how to do something, then you already know what DigTube is all about. It's a series of different categories that show you videos on different mechanics in the game. So let's, for instance, go to Machines, Bulldozer, and Flatten. So now it's going to show you a video that's sort of a step-by-step instructions on how to use the bulldozer to flatten ground. What I think is more useful is that it also shows you how to repair the different vehicles that might get damaged as you use them. So here's a video on how to swap out the battery on the bulldozer. There is also the journal, which is a step-by-step set of instructions on how to progress through the game. And this is actually what we're going to be following as we play through this particular series. So, the Tier 1 mining process. Step 1 is go to the bank, and Step 2 is rent Old Arnold's parcel claim. So let's pop over to the map. The bank itself is in the middle of the town of Haines, but we start off way over here by the hotel. So we have a short drive ahead of us. And right here we have our pickup truck, which we're going to be using quite a bit throughout the game. And let's pop into my favorite camera view, which is a third-person free camera. So all of the different vehicles in this game sort of have the same mechanics. You have to manually start the engine. Each of them has a parking brake, which you have to disengage before you can drive. They all also have lights. And some of them have a lockable differential, which is good for driving off-road, which already we're going to need that since the road east from the hotel is blocked off. Let's pop on the differential and work our way through a little bit of off-road driving. Not a whole lot, though. What's nice about this game is that all of the different vehicles feel heavy. So they do feel realistic to drive around. And like on this slope, you do retain your speed even without hitting the accelerator. There's the gas station. We'll definitely be visiting that a lot. There are quite a few times where the game has to load, but it doesn't take that long. Alright, so here we are at the bank. So let's cut the engine to save our fuel. And you do sometimes get caught on the edges of things like sidewalks and bushes and railings, so that's just something you have to pretty much learn to live with. So let's pop into the bank. Now, there are 4 different parcels in the game, and each of them have their own sets of stats. This is the one we're after today, Old Arnold's parcel. Old Arnold is always happy when new greenhorn miners are coming to town. He was a miner for almost 40 years, and now he teaches everyone who wants to learn. He rents his claim almost for free. Come take a look yourself. So we start with $450, and thankfully renting out Old Arnold's parcel is $0. But something to keep in mind when you're going to rent a parcel is that each of them has this additional provision of rent. That means that however much gold you find, 30% of it ends up being taken away at midnight every day. I believe that I tend to think that it goes to the bank, but it just kind of disappears overnight. So let's rent that one, confirm, unlock for $0. Alright, so, not escape, tab to get us back to the journal. Alright, step 3, go to the warehouse, and step 4 is to buy the basic set, which is a bunch of different equipment that we're going to need for tier 1 mining. Hop into the truck, start her up again, and then head just a little bit down the street to the warehouse, which you're also going to be spending quite a lot of time at in the game. Alright, cut the engine again, because once again we'll be here for a while. Now, this is one thing that I wish more simulator games did. The warehouse is actually a physical place that you walk around and you look at different items on the shelves in order to purchase them. Now what we're after today is the Hogpan No Pump, the Hogpan Sluice Box Core, 2 Hogpan mats, and a bucket. Actually, because I've played this game a little bit, I am going to jump ahead to some of the tier 1 extensions, and I'm going to buy another couple of hog mats and the sluice box extension. So first things first, there's the buckets right here. God bless the person who invented the bucket. Don't be afraid of buying lots of them. You can never have too many. Right now we only need the one. Where's the rest of the stuff? Alright. Hogpan No Pump. Basic dirt hopper for the hogpan. You have to use buckets filled with water to rinse the pay dirt. We need one of them. The Hogpan Sluice Box Core. Do you want to start your mining journey? This one is the core part of the Hogpan system, recommended for greenhorns. One of them. And then here's the extension as part of the extended tier 1. Hogpan Sluice Box Extension. Extension of Hogpan Basic Sluice. With 2 additional mats, you will be able of gathering twice as much gold. I wonder how long that typo has been in the game. And then finally, Hogpan mats. Put these mats in the hogpan and look as gold gathers on them. A hogpan is useless without them. Now, the journal wants us to buy just 2, but because we bought that extension, or because we're going to buy that extension, we need another 2. So, thankfully, we do have enough money for all of this stuff. So, you go around and you tell the game what you want to buy, and then you actually come up to the register and use it, and it'll give you a list of the different items and the total cost of them. Your order has been prepared. You will find all of your ordered equipment just outside the store in the designated area. This area has limited storage space, so be sure you clean it before making a big order. Another nice aspect of the warehouse setup in this game is that the items physically appear outside and you have to load them into your vehicle. Alright, so let's grab the hog pan itself, throw it in the back. The bucket. Start dropping the hog pan, not the hog pans, the hog mats. You can eventually buy little crates, like you can see one right there leaning up against the end of the shelving. Those allow you to pick up a whole lot more stuff at one time. So instead of grabbing singular hog pan mats and then bring them to your truck, you can throw all the small things into the crate and then pick up the crate itself. And load that sucker in there. I'm actually going to close the back door before I load the other hog pan sluice box. Can be a little finicky getting all of your different stuff in there to begin with. And it looks like that's all the stuff we bought. Alright, so now that we've bought our stuff, alright, load up the pickup truck. We already did that. Go to the claim and find the hog pan area. Each of the different claims does have a hog pan area. So this stuff will be useful if you end up wanting to do it on the other claims, but by then you will probably have better equipment and be able to do faster mining stuff to get you more money. So, actually, before we start heading there, Old Arnold's parcel is at the southeastern end of the map. So, we have to head down this road, this fairly long road, and then through the factory area before we can get to the parcel itself. The trip to any of the parcels is fairly long, so you kind of want to set up all the different things you need to do in town in one go. But you definitely will be getting used to driving between the parcel and town over and over again. This one's fairly easy, though. If you end up missing that first turnoff, you can cross the railroad tracks over here. You don't have to worry about... That actually kind of startled me. You don't have to worry about trains coming through or traffic on the roads. For the most part, I mean, you're really the only thing that's moving around in the game, though the developers were nice enough to add areas of ambient noise around. Oh, here we go. Stories notification. A story notification is blinking on your screen. It means that part of the story is nearby. The closer you are to the story page, the faster an icon is blinking. You can disable it at any time in the game's settings. Alright, so there are different pieces of paper lying around on the ground, and each of them gives you a little bit of story about the game itself. Oh, here we go. Alright, so collecting all of those, that's not what I meant to open. Collecting all of those gives you a discount, I believe, with getting gas, but maybe also with the blacksmith, but I'm not sure. I actually haven't read any of these because I was saving them to eventually read during this series. Here we go. For the factory. Here we go again. Ah, shit, here we go again. Apart from sobbing, now I heard some words. I'm sure it were words, but somehow different. Incomprehensible. I went to staff so they would check the vents. As always, they didn't find anything. Now they look at me like I'm nuts. Alright, so that's actually a little creepy. I was not expecting that. Alright. let's continue heading off to the parcel. I will be grabbing those as I find them, but at least on this first day, it's not very easy to do so. There is a seasonal mechanic that goes on in the game. Right now, we are, I believe, on the first day of spring, and that's why there is still snow on the ground. Alright, so now we have finally made it over to Old Arnold's parcel. You have a garage where you can store different items and equipment on the shelves. This area here is for selling things that you don't need anymore. Another set of outdoor shelving. And that area there is actually for if you eventually unlock the ability to purchase items and have them sent directly to your parcel rather than having to drive into town to get them. Alright, so over here is the Hogpan dig site, which it was actually nice enough to mark for us. Alright, so we're going to be over there for a while, so let me cut the engine. Alright, and the next step, now that we've gotten to the Hogpan area, is to set up the Hogpan, which is going to be a little different from the way the game says, just because I bought the extension. So let me grab the Hogpan itself. And the Hogpan area has this little set of wooden slats. That's so you know pretty much where you're supposed to go. And then when you get... Wait, can I not put this first? Hold on, let me get the core. Maybe I gotta put that down first. Alright, so you see that yellow outline? That shows you where you're supposed to put an item. So you pick up the item, and then once you see the yellow outline filled in with the item itself, you can hit use, and it puts it in place. Alright, yeah, so I guess I had to put the core down first, and then the Hogpan itself. And now the extension. There's the bucket. I'm not going to need that for a little bit, so let me just toss that over there. Like I said, the physics are a little weird in this, so it is easy to get stuck on different things. Now, the hog mats actually go in the sluice boxes themselves, and so you need 4 of them for the full core plus extension. So there's number 2. And number 3. And number 4. And then oh, hey, here's another story. Where's that one? Here we go. Old Arnold's parcel. I've just arrived. The neighborhood seems quiet and peaceful. I'm heading to the Old Arnold's parcel to start my gold miner journey. I hope we'll get well. I'm not sure what that means. I've never realized how hard that job can be. Using machinery is the easy part, but all this cleaning and maintenance is driving me crazy. Let me grab my bucket. So, one of the fun things about this game is terrain deformation. So, anywhere in the game that has this kind of dirt, the game considers it pay dirt. It can be picked up and then dropped elsewhere, only on this kind of dirt, and like you'll dig a hole over here and make a mound of dirt over there. So let's switch over to, you have a bunch of different tools, but pretty much numbers 4 through 8 are just for repairing different equipment that might have broken. But instead, we're going to be using the shovel. So the next step in our mining, which I probably should have read it out of the guide here. The next step is to use the shovel to fill the Hogpan itself with dirt. So you dig up a hole, and then just like when you're placing items, you put the icon over the yellow frame, and when you hit E, now you pour the dirt into the hog pan. As you can see, that was an 11% scoop. So this aspect is going to take a short while. Yeah, 3 of them get you to 33. Like I said, this is the mindless part of the game where you want to... Oh, here we go. You're lucky. You found the gold nugget. They exist so the beginning of the game would be easier and progress would be faster. If you don't want to use any help, that's the option we recommend for best gameplay, then reject this nugget. You'll never find one again. If you change your mind at any time, you can change it in the game's settings. Now, I considered skipping the gold nugget, but when I was playing on my own, progress was extremely slow. So I thought for a YouTube series, definitely we're going to be keeping the gold nuggets. And as you can see, lucky you, you've just found a big nugget, 0.55 ounces. That doesn't seem very big, but as you go, you find larger nuggets, but you find them less frequently. We're up to 89%, and now we're at 100. It's already full, you're losing the pay dirt. You don't really have to worry too much about losing your dirt. I mean, we filled that up to 100% and just made this tiny little divot in the huge section of dirt over here. And you're not really going to be staying over by the hog pan area for too long anyway. Plus, when you go to the bank, there is actually an option to reset the claim, which, as far as I know, will refill all of the dirt that you've worked through. So that way, you can just keep playing forever on the same saved game. It does cost quite a bit of money, though. So, now that we've filled it to 100, next up is wash the dirt in the hog pan. So, you take the bucket, and then you go over to the river, and when the river lights up yellow, you hit E, and now I've got a bucket full of water. And then you can see the little icon above the hog pan itself. You pour out the water. So the way the hog pan works is it washes through the dirt, and potential gold collects on the hog pan mats. And as you can see, about 1/3 of all the dirt we poured into this thing got worked through, and it only got us to 3% on each of the hog mats. So this aspect is going to take quite a while. What I usually do is fill it up 3 times, and then fill it up a 4th, and then just leave the bucket over by the hog pan for use so I can quickly dump it in as soon as I've got it full again. So, an entire hog pan worth of dirt only got us 9% on each of the hog mats. So what I'm going to do here is, off camera, I'm going to keep filling up the hog pan until all 4 mats have made it up to 100%, and then I'll show you what happens next. So, I'll be right back. Alright, so I have the hog mats to 96%, and hopefully this last bucket of water will get them to 100. 98. Alright, damn it. I need a little bit more dirt, it looks like. I've made a decently sized hole. You do want to be careful, though, because just like with the sidewalk back in town, your character is going to get stuck in the different holes that they dig. Thankfully, the hog mat area is not too deep. Lucky you, you've just found another big nugget, 0.87. As you can see, I've been finding quite a few nuggets. I'm up to almost 9 ounces of gold. The vast majority of gold you find early on is going to be from nuggets themselves. So let's, hopefully those last 2 shovelfuls will be enough. Survey says, Nice. All right, we're up at 100% on all 4 hog mats. So the journal says wash the dirt with the hog pan in the buckets. We've been doing that. Now to wash the mats in a bucket. So we fill the bucket with water one last time. But now, instead of pouring it into the machine, we pick up each of the hog mats, and then you see the little icon, the yellow outline over the bucket. Now we wash each of the hog mats in the bucket of water itself. And you can see the water will get a little bit dirtier. If you're not careful, you'll end up just dropping the mat completely. So now we have a bucket of water that has 4 mats worth of potential gold in them. The next step is to go to the tent where some of our equipment is, the gold pan and the big bowl, and fill the bowl with water. So, right across the way here is the tent. And inside, you'll find a laptop that you can do different things with. I believe they all cost money in order to unlock. A bunch of equipment that we don't actually use. But then this is also where the gold pan and the panning system is. So let's put that there. And we're supposed to fill the basin with water. Yep, I got stuck on a bench. So just like with the bucket, you bring it out to the river and then it fills with water. You only really have to do that once, as far as I know, but I don't end up spending too much time with the panning system here. Alright, and now there's the bucket that has the water and the hog mat washings in it. You pour the bucket into the pan, and then you use the pan in the basin to try and pan for gold. So this is probably the closest to a modern version of the old gold panning that people used to do way back in the 1800s. Each bucket full of dirt will give you 4 uses of the gold pan. So you pour it out in there, and then you bring it over to the pan itself, and then you wait for the game to load all of the textures. Anything that you use in the game, like the truck or any of the heavy equipment or even the panning system, there is a show and hide control button at the bottom left. So you can see you can move the pan around. I don't know why the music suddenly got so creepy. Left click for up, right click, no, left click for down, right click for up. So you dip it down into the water and then you shake it around. You don't want to go too crazy, though, because once you pour the stuff out of the pan, that's just completely lost. Like, if you pour out the dirt and gold either into the basin or off the side, you lose that completely. Alright, so your W, A, S, and D keys let you tilt the pan, and then you hit shift to go into gold collection mode. And then each of the little gold nuggets, if they're really big, then you'll pick them up with the tweezers. If they're pretty small, you pick them up with the whatever that is, like a turkey baster. Alright, so that was a pretty big one. A small one. I like to bring the pan as high as I can before I go into gold collection mode, because it's not the easiest to... Oh, there's a piece hiding. A couple pieces hiding. It's not always the easiest to aim at some of these gold nuggets. So that already got us from around 9 ounces to 9 1/3 ounces. If you want, you can always pop it into the water again, give it some more shakes. I have personally never seen more gold show up after the first round of panning, but don't take that as a definite. I mean, it is entirely possible that I've been losing tons of gold by not actually running through it all. I've heard people on the forums say that you keep washing it until the water turns clear, which I suppose that's fairly clear. So let's pour out the rocks and the water, and then E to disengage from there. And that's just one of 4 uses of this bucket full of... Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. Despite being an actual bucket, it is very difficult to pour anything from the bucket out and lose it. Yeah, so the water turned kind of yellow and murky. I guess a lighter brown color is the your finished color of water. Oop, I meant up. Pour out the water. Alright, trying to get a good angle on these. Yeah, sometimes you just can't get a good angle without having to move the pan a bit, which thankfully you can do while you're in gold collection mode. If you've got good fine aiming motor skills, then that will definitely help. Ah, there we go. There's one last one. Yeah, so now we're up to 9.63. Just in case, I'll give it another dip. Alright, I'm not seeing anything else, and it would have... that much movement would have definitely cleaned off some gold. This is one of the most tedious parts of the game, but thankfully you usually get more than enough gold from the first panning to upgrade to some more automated equipment. A little bit more. Hopefully we'll be able to get up to over 10 ounces, but actually, no, we should be able to. We've been making about 1/3 of an ounce with each pan, and we've got one more pan's worth after this. Anything else? No. Now the only problem is we currently have only $145 because we bought that sluice box extension. You can use the sluice box without the extension, but you would not end up getting as much gold out of each bucket worth when you go to the panning aspect over here. Oop. Yeah, you gotta watch out for the physics sometimes. You can end up knocking things across the friggin' room. I think this is going to be the last thing I do for this first video. Just wanted to actually show the different aspects of the early game where you set everything up and then actively pan for gold. Come on, I can see that one. Alright. Yeah, this is one of the more fiddly aspects of panning. Which thankfully, like I said, you can quickly upgrade to an automated system, which will give you just as much... Why can't I pick those up? Maybe they're too dirty. You can get just as much gold from the automated panning system. You just have to pay in gas rather than time. All right, I can see that one. We've made it over 10 ounces. But like I was saying, since we are only down to 145 bucks, that means... Oh, I saw it for a second. That means we're going to have a little bit of an issue with actually smelting all of the gold we've found so far. All right. So, well, actually, let me dump out the dirt. So, we now have the gold, and I am definitely over time for finishing up this video. So, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.